Morning, the roads out there are slick, so we're live in Spokane to let you know what the conditions are like for your morning commute.
And it is an icy morning commute in some locations, but we've got a snowstorm moving in. I'll have your details.
Folks, the people of this nation have spoken. They've delivered us a clear victory, a convincing victory.
Saturday morning, Joe Biden was elected to be the 46th president of the United States. This morning, his plans to get into action and what he has planned coming up for the nation.
A disturbing video from Gonzaga University's Black Student Union meeting surfaced on social media. Anonymous people are using fake identities hacked into their Zoom call. This morning, we'll tell you why police will investigate it as a hate crime.
Any family members back home cheering you on?
You know, here's a true story, man. I learned English because of you.
Alex Turek has passed away, and many are sharing their memories online. We're joining past contestants and fans in remembering the iconic Jeopardy host.
Up with KREM begins now.
But while I may be the first woman in this office, I will not be the last.
Good morning and welcome to Up with KREM. Thank you for waking up with us. As you heard, Kamala Harris will join Joe Biden in the White House after the pair became the projected winners of the presidential election on Saturday morning. Vice President-elect Harris will not only be the first woman elected to the White House, but she will also be the first person of color to hold the office. Such a historical feat. We have so many other firsts that happened when that election was called on Saturday, but we do quickly want to jump to our weather forecast because, Jeremy, there's a lot people need to know before they head out the door with that slick road condition on the way.
Absolutely. It's icy early on this morning thanks to a little bit of snow that fell early yesterday, and then temperatures dropping overnight. So we fell back into the low 20s. That caused a lot of what melted yesterday to refreeze, or what didn't melt to stay frozen. So expect some slick spots, especially up in, say, the top of the hills. If you're on the top of South Hill or one of the hills on the north side of town, expect that. Tomorrow, we're talking major impacts to your morning commute from an incoming snowstorm, and then the chance of snow sticking around all week long. Right now, we're talking cold temperatures this morning across much of the inland northwest. Wenatchee at 22 degrees, Ritzville 21, Spokane 23, and Coeur d'Alene 19, and about there in Pullman and Moscow early on today. Sunshine sticks around through much of the first half of the day. Later on, we're going to see those clouds build in ahead of our next storm, then snow move in, and as it does so, it moves in later on today. Overnight, we see the biggest impacts of it. Tomorrow morning, it slowly starts tapering off, but by then, the damage is done. When you're looking at snowfall coming in, it's all about timing. And this one, about as bad as it gets when it comes to those morning commutes. 20s this morning, mid-30s by this afternoon should melt some of the snow on the ground, but unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you're looking at it, we get another round of snow and a lot of it. You're going to be shoveling this round if you're in Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, or off to the north. And this morning, you might still want those ice grippers for some of those slick sidewalks out there, Nicole.
Yeah, that's right, Jeremy. You definitely are going to want your ice scraper this morning. It is very chilly. There's even some frost on the ground this morning, which is exactly why we need to be very careful while out here driving this morning. So take a look here at the roads behind me. Right now I'm up on the north side near Division and Francis is the corner we're looking at right now. And the roads up here are actually looking pretty good for the most part, but it's really going to depend on where you're waking up and where you're headed this morning as to what the roads are going to look like. So the South Hill this morning has been the worst for icy road conditions. I was slipping and sliding on some of those neighborhood roads in particular this morning on the South Hill, but the good news is that most of the main roads are looking good this morning. The Washington State Department of Transportation actually tweeted out last night that they were treating some of those main roads in this area, getting ready for the snowfall, particularly in the next few days, of course, as we see those cold temperatures and potential snow. So just be prepared for that this morning. Make sure to take it a little bit slow. Give yourself some extra time so you don't have to rush when you're getting out the door this morning. Live in North Spokane, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
Thank you so much for keeping yourself safe from that slick commute this morning, Nicole. We appreciate it. We're also tracking breaking news overnight. A possible hate crime is being investigated at Gonzaga. The incident happened during a virtual meeting of Gonzaga's Black Student Union. Now, because of the graphic nature of the video, we are not showing it at this time. But here's what we do know. The university released a statement yesterday after the video surfaced on social media, which says early Sunday afternoon, the GU Black Student Union Zoom meeting was interrupted by a group of anonymous people using fake identities. The people shouted racist and homophobic slurs directed at BSU students and wrote hateful comments in the chat function. As you can imagine, students were shocked, and some tell KREM that it was traumatizing. Now, part of the response statement from the university states, quote, "We condemn the disgusting, dehumanizing, and intolerable behavior experienced by our Black student union and community this afternoon." The university says every option will be exhausted in finding out who's responsible for the act. Gonzaga President Thane McCullough also took to Twitter to voice his displeasure as well, saying, quote, "I'm sickened by this disgusting hate crime and denounce those responsible for it." McCullough went on to say that this behavior is not reflective of the Gonzaga University community and called for faculty and students alike to show support for the Black students in the Gonzaga community at this time. KREM 2 has received permission to share the video, but we are not showing it at this time because of the vulgar language in the video, as well as out of respect to the students on the Zoom call. You can depend on us, though, to keep you updated as this story continues to develop.
On Monday, I will name a group of leading scientists and experts as transition advisors to help take the Biden-Harris COVID plan and convert it into an action blueprint that will start on January the 20th, 2021.
Any time for preparing for the White House. In the last hour, Biden introduced his coronavirus task force. The new advisory board comprises of 13 doctors and scientists. Former Surgeon General Vivek Murthy and former FDA Commissioner David Kessler will lead that group.
That plan will be built on bedrock science. It will be constructed out of compassion, empathy, and concern. I will spare no effort, none, or any commitment to turn around this pandemic.
CBS News has learned President-elect Biden is expected to unveil a series of executive orders on his first day in office. They include rescinding President Trump's travel ban on several majority Muslim countries, reinstating the DACA program, and also rejoining the World Health Organization and Paris Climate Agreement. Biden is also expected to start announcing White House staff appointments this week. President Trump has yet to concede the election while his campaign results pursue legal challenges in several battleground states. He has not spoken publicly since Joe Biden declared victory, and he was spending the weekend golfing in Virginia. Many elected Republicans are supporting his fight, but legal experts say the campaign's arguments lack evidence. Senior White House officials tell CBS News the president will concede when all legal options are exhausted and when the final numbers reflect a Biden win. The presidency does not have to officially concede. His presidency will end on January 20th. The election results are then made final. Joshua?
And China joins Russia, Brazil, and Mexico in declining to recognize Joe Biden's victory in the American presidential election. Now, under President Trump, China and the U.S. engaged in a trade war and a lively exchange of verbal hostilities. Experts project a Biden administration could have a calming effect on those frayed ties. Elected leaders of Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan invoked shared values with Washington and expressed hope for close relations with Biden. Meanwhile, Joe Biden's ancestral village in Ireland on Sunday held this parade to celebrate his victory, and fireworks were set off in celebration in the Indian ancestral village of Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. Prime Minister Boris Johnson congratulated President-elect Joe Biden. Ireland, Israel, and France have also recognized the election results. Back here in the United States, people were seen celebrating throughout the weekend across the country. Word of the Biden-Harris projected win sparked parties and parades like what you're seeing on your screen right now, from Southern California to Portland, from Atlanta to Philadelphia. In Washington, D.C., Biden supporters launched fireworks in front of the White House. Crowds gathered in New York Times Square as well to watch the weekend speeches. Now, protesters were also seen throughout the country, including in Phoenix, Arizona, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Lansing, Michigan, among other cities. Their main message was one of support for Donald Trump, and they also echoed the president's unfounded accusations of voter fraud.
And still ahead on Up with KREM, the key states left to be counted and possibly recounted for the presidential election. We have that at 7:30.
After the break, past presidents are congratulating President-elect Joe Biden as local leaders say they trust the process. Well, today, as we start your morning rush, complaints from the Spokane Health District employees will be reviewed by the Washington State Board of Health following the firing of the county's former health officer, Dr. Bob Lutz. Along with dozens of protesters that have already voiced their concerns, a letter was sent to the Washington State Board of Health asking that the matter be reviewed. The letter asked the administrator, Amelia Clark, be removed, that the board be restrained and sanctioned, and that the interim health officer be installed. The City Council of Post Falls will discuss a citywide mask mandate during a special meeting at 10 a.m. today. It is possible for the public to watch the meeting online through the city's website. Public comment will not be available. Cooney County recently got rid of their mask mandate as their largest local hospital reported it was near capacity.
Spokane residents might have some changes to their recycling and other utilities. In January, the city is expected to raise rates on utilities and switching to collecting recycling every other week. The proposed rate increase for water is 2.9%.
And that's your morning rush. More news in less time. Let us know what's happening in your neighborhood by using the hashtag #UpWithKREM on social media.
And still ahead on Up with KREM, we have key states left to be counted and possibly recounted for the presidential election. We have all that coming up at 7:30. And we're also remembering the longtime host of Jeopardy! Fans of Alex Trebek and former contestants are sharing their favorite moments. You're not going to want to miss that. Let us know what yours are. 509-448-2000.